Welcome to Backstage Money, real world finance for musicians. I'm your host, Jason K. Powers, and this is the show where we pull back the curtain on the business and money side of life in music. Every episode, we sit down with working musicians and industry insiders, those who have been making it work and figuring out in the trenches. So you can learn from the people who are actually making it work. So today, I'm excited. I'm sitting down here with Nikki Starr, founder, owner, manager, and guitarist of That Arena Rock Show. It is a high energy cover band bringing you all the favorites from the 80s and beyond. Nikki, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you. It was great meeting you guys a while back. We talked about when you were coming here through Denver and just seeing the performance on stage and all the stuff you were bringing on stage and it was really neat and I was glad you guys were hanging out afterward. We have this conversation quite a bit about bands' willingness to meet their fans before, during, or after the show, and so it was great visiting with you guys after that show, and here we are. Now you're on the podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah, we love to hang out afterwards and meet. That's one of my favorite parts of getting to do what we do is you get to meet so many different people, and now I can say I have friends in Key West, Florida, uh, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Wayland, New York, and if I wasn't doing this, I barely have 5 friends here around the house. So
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm sure it's a new experience every day, meeting
yeah,
meeting everybody under the sun.
yeah.
Well, let's jump into. I want to hear about kind of how you got started. How did you get into this? And I know there's a fun karaoke story in there, and yeah, I mean, take us all the way back. And how'd you get into this?
Yeah, so I've been playing music probably since I was 16. I think I was in my first band when I was 16. And I loved it. I was always trying to figure out a way to do it and make it like my job, make do it for a living. And I was in original bands and it was almost impossible to try to make any money doing what we were doing, at least where we were doing it. We had fun shows where we got to open up for major bands and stuff like that, but you had to sell tickets to be on those shows, and you didn't make any money, and on and on and on. Anyways, I got to a point where I got kind of frustrated, and my life was kind of I had got laid off from my job. I was getting married, and all while that was happening, I kind of just was like, you know what, I'm done with music. I'm just gonna focus on my life for a little bit and try to find a new job, and I just bought a house and all this kind of stuff. So it was kind of a stressful moment in my life, and so a couple years go by, and I'm kind of having that itch to play music again, and I see this another original band kind of doing it, and it seems like they were finding some success. So I joined up with them for a little bit, and that kind of fell apart. And the drummer from that band was going to audition for the STP gig. If you remember, Stone Temple Pilots did a thing where they had auditions, like they would have people send in auditions and stuff like that. Anyways, because he was doing that, he wanted to put together a STP tribute show, and asked if I would play guitar for it. And I was like, I don't know. That's not really my favorite band or anything like that. I don't know how interested I'd be in that. But he told me it was at a local venue here in Cincinnati, Ohio, that I've always wanted to play, called Bogarts. So I was like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll do it. It'll be fun. Be a fun little thing to do, and I'll get to play a place I've always wanted to play. And I did it, and that turned into him turning it into a full-blown tribute band, called STP2. We put together a show with like 2 or 3 other grunge bands, and called it Grunge Night, I think.
Mm.
We played at Bogarts with all 3 bands, and it ended up hitting capacity, which was like 1,400 people. So all these other venues in Live Nation saw that, and they started booking us in all their venues around the Midwest, like Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, stuff like that. Um, I knew that was going to be a short-lived thing, because that guy really wanted to do his own music. He wanted to have his own band. and do his own original thing. He didn't really want to be in a tribute band. But as I was going around that little circuit, I was kind of understanding like why that all made sense, like why tribute bands could, draw that kind of a crowd.
Hmm.
Um, and it was also stuff I was not used to, which was like playing the nicest rooms. You actually got paid.
Yeah.
Uh,
Imagine that.
they treated you well. You weren't playing at midnight in front of five people. It was, you're playing at 9 o'clock, and you got to set your stuff up on the stage, and you were the headliner. It was like a completely different thing for me. So I was like, man, if I could just figure out how to do this with the music that I was, raised on, which was like 70s and 80s rock, Aerosmith, Kiss, Def Leppard, that kind of stuff. I was like, if I could figure out how to do that with the stuff I love, I really think I could build something, build a really, really cool show. And then I also felt like I could take it from a business side and scale it to make more and more money, to grow, and not be so worried about how much we were making at first, because I felt like at 2, 3, 4 years down the road, we would start to make bigger and bigger money and stuff like that. Um, so that's kind of what I was set out to do, was put together a 70s, 80s rock kind of tribute show. I've always kind of
Wait.
liked the idea of theatrics because I'm a big Alice Cooper fan, a big Kiss
Yep.
fan. And I thought if we could just take like all of our favorite moments from a show, put it into one, have a show that had like a crazy light show, and then five highly energetic guys on stage that can entertain. I really think that it would be something, something cool. And so I kind of reached out to a few people, um, and I had a band, but I didn't really have a singer. Um, and this was all while I was still in that STP tribute band. And
Yeah.
I saw this video that was shared on Facebook of this kid singing karaoke at a bar up in Franklin, Ohio. And he was just killing some Led Zeppelin. I'm like, man, who is this guy? And come, come a couple like weeks later, he ended up coming to one of our shows, our STP shows, and I got to meet him and his family. And I was like, man, if I saw a video of you singing online. Like if you ever get a chance, we should get together and jam and just have some fun. So he was all about it, and I invited him over, and we had a rehearsal, and I could see instantly um, that this guy had a lot of potential. He'd never been in a band before. I could kind of tell he's probably never sang with a live band before, um, when he came over. But I was like, this guy has it. Like that's kind of the hard thing to find, is someone that has it. You know what I mean? I don't know how to describe what it is, but he had
Yeah.
it. And you
When you
know,
know, you know.
exactly,
You-
exactly. And I was like, if we just put some time into this guy and rehearse, this guy will be he'll be awesome. And so we did that. We start to, we had a band, and it kind of fell apart. And so we just kind of constantly kept throwing new people, like a new drummer and a new bass player and a new guitar player in, because it was kind of hard. They didn't see the end result. But like I kind of had the vision of where this is going to go, and what I wanted to see it do. But I don't know that everybody that like jumped in while we were rehearsing saw that.
Mhm.
Um, so we finally, got a stable lineup, and a good enough show together. And I told these guys, I was like, look, what happened with us with the SCP thing is we played this show, and it hit at that time, it wasn't necessarily about selling tickets. It was about putting as many people in a room as possible, because Live Nation at the time would hand out free tickets. And so I was like, well, all we have to do is we gotta put our own show on at Bogarts, and make it hit capacity. That's like goal number one. Um, so we took a couple shows where we were the opening band, just to kind of get out there and get our feet wet, and just get out there and prove and show people that what this is, and that it exists, and that sort of a thing. So we did, and
It,
it was successful because we were opening up for some big tributes that had big crowds. I think the first one we opened for was a Black Sabbath tribute with Vinny Appice playing drums, he played drums in Black Sabbath and for Ronnie James Dio and stuff like that. And then the second time we played Bogarts, it was with Thunderstruck, which was an AC/DC tribute. And they both times we were played in front of big crowds and kind of proved ourselves to where I think it drew some interest for people to want to see us at our own show. And then also again with the free tickets thing, like so Bogarts would hand us out like stacks of tickets. I mean, 2,000 tickets, and we would go around just pass them to everyone we know. We would take them to like CD stores or whatever and just sit stacked down. And just because it was like, if these people show up, it's going to turn into this what I'm wanting it to do. And so I remember we had our first headline show there at Bogarts, and when I was kind of friends with the owner, like the guy that ran the place, the manager. And I remember talking to him when we were loading in and stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, we're expecting, maybe 300-400 people tonight." I was like, "Okay," and because I'm like, I'm expecting 1,400.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I think they sold maybe 200 or 300 tickets, and then with all those comp tickets, it hit capacity, and I remember getting texts from the booking guy from the venue. He's like, "Man, this is doing better than we thought. There's 800 people in the room." I'm like, just hold on. There's gonna be more.
Yeah.
And then right before we went on, he texted me. He's like, "Man, the place is at capacity. Like there's a line outside waiting to get in for when people leave." So, so yeah, it was like right after that, it was just like it kind of did the same thing where like all the different Live Nation venues wanted to book us, and all their different venues in Ohio, Kentucky. We were even getting stuff down in like Myrtle Beach, North Carolina. Stuff like that. And from there we sought after a booking agent, and we had a guy that was kind of getting us some stuff, and yeah, so we finally kind of branched out and got to start playing some shows. And at that point our show wasn't exactly what it is now. Like now what you see now is like what I had envisioned when we first started. Like I wanted a big light show, a big production, a big stage, video content, stuff like that, which I think in Golden, Colorado, I don't think we were able to use all of our stuff. But if you see videos of like where we get to use all of our stuff, like that was kind of like what I envisioned this being. But when we first started out, we had two like scrims, one on each side that looked like big giant speakers, and then a big backdrop. And we just thought, at the time, we thought, dude, we look awesome.
This is cool. Yeah.
But I look back at that stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, it's it's that we come a long way, baby.
Yeah.
That's fun. Well, so let's talk about for a minute then. You touched on it, finding the right members. What makes it work? What kinds of things do you go through to make it work? And every band's got their needs, but what was kind of the mental process of that? And we got to find the right members, or these aren't the right fit because why? And what's that look like for you?
Sure. When we first started out, we were only playing within 3 to 5 hours from here just because nobody else had heard of us to get us further out. And at the time, that lineup of guys that was in the band, like that was cool. They were okay with that. And it was like, we were playing 10 to 20 shows a year or something like that. And, a couple of them, like the pandemic hit, and I think they started to rethink what they wanted to do with their time and their weekends and stuff like that. And, which is understandable. I mean, when you're young, you're not exactly sure, 24, 25 years old, you don't have it all mapped out or whatever. Like you might, anyways. So one of the guitar players the initial guitar player that we had decided to leave, and because he wanted to go start a family, wanted to get married and just not do music. And which I get. And we were starting to, play out a little further and stuff like that. So he just wasn't on board with that. So I think we had to, our bass player at the time moved to guitar, and then we got a new bass player, and that bass player is the guy that actually is with us today. Um, but what it takes is five like-minded individuals that all want the same thing. Well, in our case, five. Um, like we got to a point where we were starting to talk like while the pandemic was going on and we weren't having shows, is like, do we want to like turn this into a real thing, like to where it's a real job, or do we want to just like have fun with it on the weekends? Like what is everyone's interest? And everyone, at that time was like, dude, let's turn this into as busy as we can make it. And so from that point on, that was kind of the goal, was to just step on the gas and try to go out there and play any opportunity we can get, so that maybe a few years down the road we're playing those markets again and we're making better money or whatever. While that happened, of course, there could be conflicts within the band, with disagreements, or you're with each other a lot, you're on the weekends a
Right.
lot, and it's easy to, I always tell people it's easy to step on people's toes. If you're dancing with people long enough, you're going to step on their toes.
Yeah.
So, that can happen. Or, again, young people, that there's been a lot of younger guys in this band, and they, will change their mind on what they want to do. At 22, 23, this sounded awesome, but 27, 28, they're like, I kind of want to take it easy, and so that sort of stuff. So and that's completely fine.
I imagine
But
once some people find out the real dedication, the real commitment to it, and the sacrifice that you make
yeah,
in putting into that, can be a hindrance.
yeah,
You're waking up from this dream you imagined this life to be like, and you're like, oh wait, this isn't
yeah.
this isn't what I really want.
Right. I mean, when you dream about it, you're on a tour bus and somebody's setting all your stuff up, and you wake up at 7 p.m. and you can go out and just play the show and then go back to your tour bus and hang out and go back to bed or whatever. That's not it at all. It's a very, very long day for us anyways. You have the travel, whatever that is, 5, 10, 15 hours, some trips. And then you got a show day. So then it's pretty much a 12-hour day. You load in somewhere around 12, and you get set up, you do your sound check. After that, you go eat and then get ready for the show, play the show, and then you got to tear it all down. So it's a lot of work.
Mhm.
That a lot of people might not understand when they're getting into it, or whatever. And on top of that, throughout the week, you got to stay up on your chops. Like for me, like through the week, I'm kind of the guy running the ads for shows, doing the social media, advancing shows, all that kind of stuff, doing the finances, that kind of stuff. So it's a full-time job for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's through the week, it's on the weekends, it never stops. If a truck breaks down on the way out to, Georgia, like this weekend, somebody's got to be the guy they call to figure that out, and that's me. So it's like you're always on call.
That's it.
There's no break from it. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I love what we get to do. I love this. I've always wanted to play music for a living, and now I get to do it. And something Paul Stanley used to say was, if you're uh, lucky enough to hit the lottery, don't complain about paying the taxes. So that's kind of how I feel. There's a lot of stuff I could complain about. A lot of things that I probably don't like about what I have to do, but I'm getting to do every day what I love to do. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'll just
Yeah.
shut up.
That's the payoff. That's the payoff.
Yeah.
Get to do what you love, and that's it. That's it. Let's talk a minute about, you even mentioned, when you started out, you had a couple of scrims and a real basic setup, and
Yeah.
that's evolved a ton over how many years has it been now?
So our first show was in 2018.
Okay.
But we kind of started in late 17.
Mhm.
So whatever the math is on that.
Yeah. But you've evolved. I mean, just
Yeah.
you've made some intentional decisions to invest in production,
Yeah.
for example, and that's I think what stands apart from the average, say, band that's doing covers is that, right? That helps you stand apart, but that's I think what has also helped catapult you a little bit further is just this constant, but it's an intentional decision, I think,
Yeah.
to reinvest in this production setup that you have.
Yep. Yeah, so it's always been, the idea is to constantly get to a point where, our stage setup looks professional. Um, when we had those scrims, we thought those were awesome. So one thing that, we did, so, like, financially, something that I do was, merch money was always goes right back into the band. So if we
Okay.
invest in, 50 shirts and then we make a profit on those shirts, that money stays in a pot that goes to take care of, certain things. As I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit. As we as a band have become more successful, now we take a percentage of our show money and also throw that back in there because we've got trucks, we've got you know flat tires happen,
Mhm.
people need more guitar picks, sticks, etc., etc. But anyways, back to where we were. So I would take that merch money and try to figure out how we can improve our setup. So we moved from those scrims to like these they looked like cabinets, but they had lights in them and they were programmed to our show. So like to a click track, they would kind of flash based off of whatever song was being played. And that was really cool for a little bit until we realized that they weren't really built to last, 50, 60 shows a year. They were
Yeah.
built to last, one or two shows,
Mhm.
you know. So they were starting to fall apart after a year or so. And and I said, what we really need to invest in something that we can that A is on wheels and B, looked professional, that we don't have to constantly keep changing out, that kind of a thing. And so we had this idea to create these carts. They were fabbed by a local fab shop, and then we had this guy that made like dummy cabinets, and they were put into the front of them. So it looks like um, there's speakers on our stage, right? But
Mhm.
behind it is really just shelves where we can put like we have geysers, smoke geysers back there that are preset, kind of pre-wired. Um, that's where all the lighting that is sitting on top of that stuff goes, like when we're transporting it. So basically, we needed a way to store and travel with all that stuff, and then also make it an easy setup to where we can just pull all that stuff out, put it on top of the cabinets, and all the wiring would be ready to go. You just plug and play kind of a thing to make our load-ins, easier. But yeah, it was intentional to constantly continue building. If I was rich, I would have started out like this, but we
Yeah.
aren't. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so we had to start with what the kind of money we had, and try to look the best we could with the money that we had at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's so smart because a lot of people, a constant conversation with the music community is this, this starving artist kind of idea, and everybody starts from somewhere. And everybody's kind of broke at first trying to build their music
Yeah.
business, and it's such a smart move that I don't think enough people do is reinvest in your own business, reinvest in your own
Yeah.
self, really, and not just I make the money. Yeah, you've got to keep the lights on. I get it, but I think there's a mental shift if you're like, okay, I know whatever it is you're setting aside. I know 20% of everything is going to go right back into the business. So that means if I in fact do need to pocket X amount, you're gonna go out and hustle and
Oh, yeah.
find a way to close that gap.
Yeah.
Just like you're hustling to get the gig anyway, just like you're hustling to get the money you're currently making. And if you're like, well, I need 20% more, I most people I think once that fire is under their butt, you're gonna find a way.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
but yeah, I think that's a real smart move for any musician is just to kinda making sure a percentage of that goes back to the business, goes back to the the band to
Yeah.
reinvest and build and grow and cover their butts. Flat tires happen. You hear about it all the time. All the time. Car
Happens more than I want it to, that's for
I
sure.
mean, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I think, when we first started, we had, people in the band that were more interested in making the money versus holding back money, um, to invest, and it took a lot of conversations and, to try to help them understand that is like, we can exist the way we are right now, but if we're not investing in this thing and making it grow, we're never going to get to the level that we want to be at and make the money that we want to make.
yeah.
So like to me, it was always like when we first started, like let's do that, like let's do the investing now. That way, later on down the road, like of course we're gonna have to keep reinvesting, but maybe the hard part's out of the way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So tell me kind of how you got from, let's say around 2021, I think I was reading that you did about 20 shows. Fast forward to now you're doing what, 80 or 90 plus a year?
Yeah. Last year was 94. Our goal was to hit 100. We didn't
Yeah.
get to it. This year, our goal is to hit 100, and I think we're around 78, 80, somewhere around there. So I think it's possible. 78, 80 booked. So I'm hoping that that gets there. But it really took just saying yes to like every opportunity that
Mhm.
came. I mean, obviously, you don't want to do dumb stuff that doesn't make sense, but
Right.
um, you know, we would as much around here as possible, and then anytime we could get an agent to get us something out west or something in markets that we haven't been in, we'd be like, please,
Mhm.
something that really happened that really helped us was we went down and played. Um, we had an opportunity to play a festival in Key West, Florida, or an event in Key West, Florida. It was for something called Fantasy Fest, which if you've never heard of is crazy. You should check it out. But anyways, um, and they had a stage on a pier, and the money that we were getting paid was we were going to lose money on the trip unless we stacked other shows, and we just didn't
Mhm.
have enough other shows to like do it. But we were like, you know what? Let's go down there, let's just see what happens, and we did it. And man, that led to a lot of things. That led to that guy that I was telling you that we played his beer fest in Colorado, which got
Yeah.
us out into Colorado. um, that led to that, and we played that 3 or 4 years back to back. um, and uh, and then it also, the guy from a new festival that was being um, put on in Key West called Rock Island was at that show too, that saw us play on the pier, and he was like, man, I gotta get you guys at my on my festival. So Rock
Yeah.
Island was like a big 80s rock festival that was put on in Key West, Florida for 2 or 3 years. The last year they lost a lot of money, and obviously I don't think it's coming back, um, but he had us for like a pre-party at his bar for all 3 years, and then they would give us tickets to like go watch the main show, like side
Mhm.
stage. Like I was watching Styx one time, and some guy came up behind me and he's like, hey, what songs have they played? And it was Gary Sharon from uh Extreme, and Nuno
Nice.
Betancourt's standing
Yeah.
right next to him. I'm like, what the hell? you know
Yeah.
um so anyways, my point in that was, is like we were trying to take opportunities to hopefully get more opportunities, right? So
Mhm.
that is an example of one that worked for us. We went down to Key West, lost money on the trip, but it ended up getting us opportunities in all kinds of other places. Like there's other venues that booked us because they saw us at Rock Island.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, sometimes you got to take opportunities, even though they're not going to be the best situations financially.
Mhm.
But now, we can go down to Key West every October and play that Fantasy Fest. They book us 2 nights now. We've found some other shows to kind of help it, like help the route the way down there. That way we make money on the trip.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all about being strategic with a lot of the things you're
Yeah.
doing. And I'm helping with a couple other bands, like you book some shows and whatnot. And I'm telling them all, it's don't worry about the money at first. Like worry about getting people there to see you, and worry about putting on a great show that makes people want to come back to see you again. And the money will come. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and another thing that really helped me out, and I want to say it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago that someone taught me, was um, to do something called a door deal. We were kind of at a place where, like, you know, maybe this was 3 or 4 years ago, where like venues were maybe a little more skeptical about booking us for whatever fee we would be asking, and because they've never heard of us, or we don't have history in their market or whatever. And a guy told me, he said, what you need to do is take a door deal, which is like you make a deal where you get 70% or 80% of the gross ticket sales, and then you run your own ads and try to sell your own tickets. And I was like, man, that sounds way backwards from the way that
Yeah.
I've always, been taught. Like I want to, make some solid guarantees and whatever. But anyways, we tried it out, and it was the best thing that could have ever happened for us, because we instantly started getting booked more because we were willing to take those kind of deals. And then, I would spend, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 sometimes on some shows. And some of those shows are now some of our biggest grossing shows. Or like it's led us to other places or whatever, or now we're getting better guarantees in those places and don't have to do door deals, stuff like that. So it's really all about betting on yourself.
So you would front some of that cost,
all of it.
and then
Yeah.
with your hustle and your
Yeah.
initial fan base, relationships and contact lists, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? Your
It's
marketing.
mainly running Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people, I tell them this is like, you can have the best product in the world, but if no one knows it exists, it doesn't really matter if it's the greatest product in the world,
Yeah.
So making sure that you're seen, or making sure that people know that your event exists, is extremely important. So, like, that was kind of the whole idea with a lot of our shows. Like, instantly took us up another level when it came to like money, like getting paid by a venue, like instantly. um and it was the greatest thing that anyone could have ever taught me, was to run our own Facebook ads, do door deals, and bet on yourself in a lot of these different markets. And then eventually, maybe better venues, or those venues that you're in will offer you better money, that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's look at the other side of the coin. We talk about good deals and bad deals. I love how you're explaining it, because these are calculated risks in a way, right? They're not so much flippant. It's not just I'm gonna blatantly go out and get taken advantage of and work for free and lose money. It's more of a calculated. This one might be a loss leader, but it's probably going to lead to other things.
Yeah.
And it's build relationships, certainly, build these relationships and make those contacts, and then you have that rapport, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So talk to me about, we talk about good deals and bad deals. Maybe share a time you got into a deal that didn't go the way you expected, and what you learned from it.
Sure. Yeah. So on the flip side of some of those tour deals, there's been home runs. We've killed it on some, but there's been some that it was like, what the hell happened? So we
What have I
lost
done?
money. So there's instances where that happens, where maybe it paid enough for the ads, but it didn't pay enough to pay, like, the musicians in the band, or it didn't pay enough for the gas, or so, that's a loss. But like I said, like, what I do now is I have that merch money, and I have like a percentage of show money that gets held back from pretty much every show. And that will cover it, if we have a loss. It doesn't happen as much anymore, but when we were gambling a lot there for the first few years, it was probably 90-10. Like 90% were either home runs or really good results. and then there'd be like one every 10 shows that was like, oh man, that
Mhm,
sucks.
mhm, mhm.
And then, as far as other, bad deals, you know, early on we had someone book us a show, um, and they told us it was for X amount of money. Um, the contract that I never saw was for a different amount of money. So that guy that booked it got that money, and then he took a percentage of our pay.
Uh,
So that
wow.
taught me a big thing where you always check, your contracts, make sure you're getting to see those. With door deals, you don't have that issue, so that's kind of been cool. But yeah, if you're doing a guarantee, make sure whatever agent or someone whoever's booking you the show, make sure that you see the contract and that you sign it and that you get to see exactly what you're owed, and make sure that there's no funny business going on, because
Yeah.
that resulted in us not wanting to work with that guy anymore. And
Sure, sure.
yeah,
It's
so if he'd have
that
just been
all.
honest and said, "Hey, here's what I'm gonna do,"
Mhm.
and were you cool with this, only this amount of money? Maybe I'd have been like, you know what, fair. We're in a spot where we want to play and we need to get out there. That's fine. But to do it and not tell me about it, and I
Mhm.
find out from the venue, that wasn't very cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's that
music business can be
communication.
scummy. That's for sure.
Trust but verify.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
there,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Trust but verify. Well, so what has been the most reliable income stream in this business for you?
So shows definitely, now, and then, like I said, merch really, really helps. A lot of people, I've no bands, a lot of tribute bands that are like, we ain't messing with merch. We don't have anyone to sell it or whatever. And it's like, man, there's a lot of money you're missing out on, if you're not doing that.
Mhm.
I bought a truck or a bus for us to travel in, um, a year ago. And I want to say pretty much all of that was paid for by merch money.
Okay,
So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I mean, and we still had money to buy other things that year. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
so it's merch is a huge thing that I think a lot of bands, that they don't think is important, but it could be a huge revenue stream for you.
Mhm.
As a tribute band, we have songs on Spotify or whatever, but I've never seen any money from it. Maybe there's in an account somewhere that's like $5 or something, but I have no idea. Um, we put all that up through like a website called DistroKid, and but I've not seen any like there's never been an email to me like, hey, cash out $300. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Um, but the reason why we have the stuff up on there is just so like our fans that enjoyed it, like you have that album in the back, like you can either take a physical product home, or you can pull up Spotify, and there we are, if you also want to listen to us, just a way to keep us in people's minds,
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Yep. Um, yeah, that merch conversation is always it's an interesting one because of that perspective, like you mentioned, people they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to mess with
Mhm.
it. They don't want to track it. They don't want to front the cost for it a lot of times. Um, and and I agree. I think it's important because people like buying stuff. I mean, I've bought stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and so it's I think it's important for the band, even if you're not schlepping it around to the shows for some reason, get it on your website.
Yeah,
Let people
yeah,
buy it on your website. There are tons of resources where you can plug in a system to your website, and you don't even have to handle the inventory. You know,
yeah, yeah. I think
and
we use one of those, for our website. I think it's printful.com, something like
mhm,
that.
mhm. Yeah.
And it's really nice. Like, the order will come in, it immediately pays. I think out of my PayPal, to Printful to pay for them to print the shirt.
Mhm.
And then the rest of the money like goes into my something like that goes into my PayPal, and then I can cash it out later,
Yeah.
like the profit. And then they print the shirt and ship it off, and you don't have to worry about anything. It's kind of
Mhm.
nice. The only problem with that I've noticed is some of the people will come to our shows and have those shirts, and the quality isn't like if you had like a real screen printer do it, or
Yeah.
like one you would buy from our show. So I've been so my wife and I, excuse me, when this kind of became a full-time job for me, I one of the things I wanted to do was start some other business that I also had, that we could also have a revenue stream, and to where maybe my wife wouldn't have to work a full-time job. She could do something else.
Mhm.
So anyways, we started our own screen printing business, and we print all of our shirts, and then we print a few other bands shirts, and that's actually where she's at right now. But anyways, like I think what we're gonna do is get when we finally get caught up, we're gonna like print some shirts to like store at our house, to where we can just mail those off if someone orders them. Because like I said, I don't love the quality that I've seen like from Printful specifically, but maybe there's other ones that are better, and I just need to research those.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
Sure.
so
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then it's just another added component, touring, you know,
yeah,
one
yeah.
more thing to bring. But I think you would agree, right? It's worth the effort
It is
because
100%
because
because,
yeah.
um, when we first started this band, like I used to have to buy my own guitar picks, my own guitar strings, or all the guys in the band would do that, and now like that's all covered by the business. You know, if we have to fly somewhere, that's all covered by the business. Like it's all, um, it all helps. The show monies can be good most of the time, and then the merch money can help with other things.
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
so many other added costs like subscriptions every month. I got QuickBooks, I've got a storage lot, I've got different apps that but where's that gotta that's gotta come from something.
Yes.
So that's kind of like that's why I built that little pot that I'm kind of talking about, where it's like merch money and a percentage of show money go into, and that can take care of that. And if there's a ton of it left over at the end of the year, I have no problem dispersing that between, you know, the team or the band members or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
It's just the last few years we've been kind of building, like we had to buy the bus I told you about, so there was no money left over at the end of the year. Um, but uh, but yeah, it's just all it's running it like a business. A lot of people think it's a party, you know what I mean? Think it's
Yeah.
just a go have fun with your friends, and it can be
Uh-huh.
if you want. That's fine, but if you
Sure.
treat it and run it like a business, it can be
Mhm.
a very good thing for you financially, and it can
Yeah.
be you can make a career out of it.
Yeah. Well, and you have kind of a unique role, uh, in contrast to a lot of bands out there where you have a whole a whole team that you're working with. You're the manager, you know, and so it's kind of your responsibility to make sure things happen, things move forward, the money's flowing, the
Yeah.
checks get cut, and have you run into, I guess, what does that dual role look like, for you? And have you run into what kinds of potential complications have you run into that people can watch out for maybe?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like I think what I think what being all of those things causes is stress,
Yeah. Yeah.
depression, anxiety. But I think at this point, I've gotten pretty good at it to where like the way I pay out like our shows, I'll wait till the end of the month so that there's money in the bank in case something happened, or like our credit card bill was too high that month or whatever, and that way it's covered. But by the end of that month, there's enough money to pay everybody, and that kind of a thing. But I try to stay on top of that. I try to make sure they're all paid, right when right when they're expecting it. Um, like ads, like I have to run all the ads, like that's stressful, because especially if a show's not doing well, you start to
Mhm.
blame yourself. Like, what is wrong? I didn't set this up right, or maybe,
Mhm.
how do I make this ad work better? And sometimes the answer is it's just not working. I don't know,
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to let it ride out. And if the show bombs, it bombs, but that's never what you want. But
Yeah.
sometimes that happens. You know, yeah, so maybe in previous lineups of the band, like when I would try to tell certain people, I always try to run this thing as I like the word
If-
leader instead of boss. A lot of
Yeah.
people, a lot of people like to be the boss. I don't want to be a boss of anybody. What I mean? I'm
Yeah.
barely a boss of myself. So, I try to treat it. I try to treat everybody with as much respect as possible, and there's a right way and a wrong way to ask somebody to do something. I'm sure we've all been there where we've asked someone the wrong way, but
Mhm.
I try to put it in a way that people understand, like, hey, this loadout's taking a little longer than it needs to. Like, can we,
Mhm.
can we jump on this and just get this done? That way, and as soon as we're done, like, we can get out of here. I don't want to ever be like, hey, get this done. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
going to get
Yeah.
people to work for you like that.
Sure.
Um, and I wouldn't want to be, I've worked jobs before where people treated me like I just talked about, and it's like, I I have no motivation when you treat me like that. But if you
Yeah.
kind of help me understand why we're needing to do what we need to do,
Mhm.
maybe I'll work a little harder just to help you
Mhm.
out. So
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
try my best at it. And you know, hopefully, the people on the team see it that way too. But
Yeah. 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 That's great. Well, I think you've got a step above the average bear coming into it with all of these different roles, and you've got some wisdom there with the lead understanding of the difference between leading and even the tyrant, we would say, right? The
yeah,
boss,
yeah, yeah,
tyrant, and leadership is important, and people follow leaders, and that's
yeah,
what you
for
need to be
sure.
successful in the
Yeah,
band,
100%.
above and beyond cash flow. You know, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about where can people find you? What have you got going on? You've got a monthly vlog as well. Uh, how's it look? How are people finding you?
Yeah, so we have our website, thatarenarockshow.com. We're pretty active on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow us there, and usually our shows are promoted on both of those or our website. Um, and yeah, we have a new vlog that we put out. My bass player Jack has been editing them, and he's been doing a really good job, I think.
Mhm.
And we've tried to, like, kind of make it like a tour, like a travel diary in a way, but also have like some fun or funny moments in it. Because I like watching those. Like, I'm a big wrestling fan, and I like to watch some, like, wrestlers vlogs, and it's just neat to see, like, the behind the scenes stuff,
Mhm.
or like them talk about their travel or whatever. And it's a side that a lot of people, when they come to your show and they see this cool show, they leave, they go back to their lives, they don't think about. So, but if you have enough, if you have some people that are into what you're doing, and they can also see that other side there, I think they find it pretty neat, because every time we put it out, there's people that watch it instantly, and
Yeah.
send us like, dude, this was so cool, thanks for
Yeah.
sharing it.
Yeah.
So we like to do that. It's something fun to put out, and we enjoy making them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much, yeah, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We're on TikTok, but I really don't post too much on there.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, we try to stay as seen as possible on all the socials.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the vlog thing because it humanizes you, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, oh, these people are normal, just like everybody else,
Yep.
and they have a really fun career they're in,
Yep.
but it really brings it down to earth, and I think that's something I always remember my dad taught me growing up, and he was always like, because we would meet basketball players, and we would meet certain people. Like, he was real big in the NCAA scene, and we
Yeah.
would meet people, and he always talked about that. He said, "Look, I don't care how famous they are; they're still humans, just like you and me, and so you need to treat them just like that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you know." Uh, there's a certain expectation I think people set for you guys, and it creates a certain level of pressure, I think, in a
Sure.
way. And so this stuff like this, I always enjoy and appreciate because it really, I think it creates a connection for your fans.
It does.
Helping them
So
see, oh, I had the same problem last week.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Another thing that I think um putting out those vlogs has done is like really made you probably see it right back there. There's some artwork. Like people will bring us artwork or like bracelets or something with our names on them or something like that. It's like they feel like they've got to know us, so they want to like
uh-huh.
give us gifts and stuff. It's
Yeah,
really really neat.
yeah.
But like you said, it also humanizes us to where people kind of see like what you just said is like you see it as one thing, but we're just like you guys. I try to tell people all the time, like if it's in Cincinnati, we're probably at that show that you're at, standing right next to you. You just don't realize
Yeah.
it because we look like this. Our makeup and hair's not on. But we're fans of this stuff just like everyone else, and it's neat that there are fans of what we do. It's
Mhm,
it's weird for me to comprehend sometimes, like someone drawing that artwork or whatever, taking
mhm.
whatever time that took to do, and then
Yeah.
want to bring it to us and give it to us or something. It's just
Mhm.
like it's
Yeah.
it's uh it's incredible.
That's special. Yeah, it is. It is. All right. Any parting advice for listeners who are getting into this business, who are starting out, who are trying to make it work, or who are feeling defeated right now? And like, I know I've
Mm.
been trying this, but gosh, I don't see light at if there's light at the end of the tunnel, it might just be a train, and
That's
helping them
good.
get past that,
Sure. I what I love about the tribute scene is I have a lot of friends in other tribute bands, and we all call each other and we're able to like talk each other off the ledge. Like
Yeah.
I talked to a guy this morning and we were talking and he's like, man, my ads aren't working. I'm like, dude, mine aren't either. Like, right now it's just
Mhm.
like for whatever reason um they're not hitting like I was hoping. But I've noticed it happens about once a year, and it seems to be like in the May timeframe. So I was kind of explaining that to him, and he's like, well, he said, I hate that you're also not doing well, but it's comforting to know that like we're both kind of in this together, and we're both kind of experiencing some of the same results. And so I love that there's several other people in tribute bands, and they're all willing to help you. I have a friend in another one that completely different genre, and he's the guy that taught me how to run ads and stuff like that. I love that. But I guess my point with it is like there's gonna be tough times, even when you see a band that you think is successful. They're probably struggling with something. They're just not, they're not making it known or whatever. They're not posting about it. They're not, telling everybody about it. Um, yeah, there's going to be tough times. What you have to do is if you believe in something, make it the best thing you can, and then make sure that people see it. Whether it's taking as many opportunities as you can to be seen in front of people, like shows, whether you're getting paid great or not, or betting on yourself where you're running your own ads and taking door deals just to get those shows, and you're advertising and you're making sure that the show is being promoted in the right way. Worry about the money later, and just continually reinvest in yourself, and continually bet on yourself,
Mhm.
especially if you think that you have a great product and other people are telling you the same thing. Um, Definitely reevaluate your situation. Like, make sure that you have a great product. Maybe something's lacking and you need to fix it.
Mhm.
Um, but uh, but yeah, I mean, just keep going. If it's something you want to do and you love and it's kind of your dream, like don't give up on it. Just keep going, and eventually, things will start to you'll realize in 5 or 10 years, you're like, oh wow, now I'm at that point where I was wanting to be. It's
Yeah.
not overnight success in a lot of these situations. It's a lot of work, a lot of travel, a lot of building, and but it can be done.
Mhm.
I remember when I was in an original band, I was like, there's no way to make money in music. Like, original bands can't make nothing. I can't imagine there's tons of money in tribute bands or anything like that. And you know, this is my full-time job. So
Mhm.
it's definitely possible. And I've been doing it for a full-time job for like 3 years now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely possible. It's just about working working your butt off,
Yeah.
and and getting yourself out there.
Hmm. Yeah. It's stay in community with those of like mind,
Absolutely. Have a mentor. Have a
and
mentor and have other bands that you can call and run things by and find people that you trust to tell you like, man, that outfit you're wearing is terrible.
yeah,
Or you're singing your background vocals sound horrible on this song. Maybe you
yeah,
should work on it. Find people that are
yeah.
going to be honest and tell you the truth. And it'll take you a lot further than people that are just telling you what you want to hear. I
Yeah.
always tell people I don't want to hear our show is great. I want to know what we can fix. You know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, man, I appreciate it. We always close every episode with what we call final riffs. This is just a rapid fire one-liner question, just rapid fire answers, and then we'll wrap it up. You ready?
Sure.
All right. Funniest thing that's ever happened on stage?
Funniest thing that's ever happened on the stage. Oh, I I had a show where I ripped my pants right in the crotch.
Oh, shoot.
So I'm like mid-song and I run back to we have a wardrobe lady because we do a lot of costume changes. I'm like, hey, I need something to like put on underneath here because it's just a gaping hole in my crotch area. So we find something, and about halfway through the next song, as I kind of put it down my pants just to kind of like make sure like my underwear is not hanging out or something, and that thing just fell out of the hole. so
Oh, no. Oh,
so
no.
yeah, there was that's happened. Knock on wood, I haven't had any like super embarrassing situations like falling or anything like in
Yeah.
this band. I've had that in previous bands where you know you've got this great show and you fall and you look like an idiot, uh
It
but yeah,
happens.
uh
Yeah.
yeah.
That's funny. All right. First concert you ever went to?
My first concert was Kiss on the Psycho Circus tour. I think it was 1999, in Dayton, Ohio. They were doing like 3D glasses. I remember that. You could put those on like during the show, and like the screens, like their hands would like come out at you and stuff like that. It
Nice.
was cool. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. All right. Biggest musical influence growing up?
So Kiss, my dad raised me on. He's a huge Kiss fan, and I, would always watch those. Like he would have bootleg VHS tapes from like concerts, and I would just watch them, just be amazed by it. And I think that's what inspired me to like, I want to do that one day, And so yeah, I'd have to say Kiss. They inspired me to do what I do, and honestly, the way that they kind of run their business, I kind of have taken some things like from them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Kiss.
Yeah. They got a lot going on. All right.
Yeah.
Non-music hobby or passion of yours?
Non-music. I love comedy and I love wrestling.
Wrestling.
I'm a big AEW fan. If you're familiar with wrestling, WWE is cool, but it's kind of like it's almost like too mainstream for me. Like I love the actual like wrestling part of it, and
Mm-hmm.
AEW is really good about that part. But comedy, I love going to see comedians. Uh, I love, we have a funny bone up the street, and sometimes we'll just go not even knowing who the person is, and it's like, what's
Mm-hmm.
the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to laugh, so it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. All right. Last question. One city or a venue you'll never forget playing?
Ah, there's probably several. Um, I'd have to say like my favorite scenery is that pier that we play in Key West, because you're literally on the pier and you're surrounded by the ocean and it's just beautiful. Like you're loading in and they give you free pina coladas, and it's like
Mhm.
loading in has never
Sounds
been so
glamorous.
fun.
Right.
And it's just beautiful scenery, and so I love that one. But I also love this place we play in Versailles, Ohio, called BMI Event Center. And it almost feels like you're playing an arena, and every time we play there, it's packed. So it's just it's like exactly like how our show is supposed to be, felt if you're in the
Hmm.
crowd. A big crowd, everyone's singing along. It feels like you're in this big room. That's it's just like the perfect thing.
Cool, cool. All right. Well, Nikki, that's been a blast. I appreciate you being on. Appreciate you pulling back kind of the curtain behind the scenes on some of the things you've had go on in your career, and just it's fun to hear different perspectives and the different paths people have taken and just how it's worked and the things you've learned. And anyway, so I appreciate you being on and sharing all that.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it can help somebody, you know.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I love to hear other people's situations. Like I talk to friends of mine and kind of hear how they run things. And this is just how I've ran things based off of information I've been given, or how I've seen that it could help us. And but maybe our situation can help somebody else, you know.
Yep, that's great. All right, that Arena Rock Show, guys, go check them out. Tour dates and monthly vlog on the road or on their YouTube channel. We will post links in all of our show notes, so check it out. So, hey, guys, if today's conversation got you thinking about the business side of your own music career, I'd love to keep that going. Head on over to 1024wealth.com/music and grab the free guide. Book a call and let's talk about building a financial system that actually fits the way you live and work in the music industry. I'm JCK Powers. This is the Backstage Money Podcast, where music and money collide. We will see you guys next time. Thanks, Nikki.
Yeah, thank you.